Hi, it's Megan. I wandered into my local Sephora, which I do, and while it wasn't out on display, they had them in the back. I asked and got one of the Kat Von D Chrysalis eye palettes. So that's the box. Great artwork as always. It's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And the names of the shadows are on the back. And it's a cardboard, but a really heavy cardboard case, and this is what it looks like. And I don't clean mine up after I do the look on my eyes because, not because I'm messy, I'll clean it up later, but because I want people to see, like for example in this case, this is a little powdery. The formula's a little powdery. And so it does kick up a little dust, not a lot when you use it. I'm not particularly messy, so in fact I'm pretty careful, so when there's dust like this, it's usually just the fact that the formula is a softer formula. So what do I think? I'm going to do kind of an overview, and then I don't want the video to be too long. I'm going to do kind of color by color. So what do I think? They say it's a captivating, cool-toned eyeshadow palette with a savvy composition of colors, 3 large base shades right here up top, and 9 transformative accent hues for a spectrum of stunning eye looks. So they say it's a rebirth of color, cool shades, in an ingenious arrangement that gives you the ability to not run out of like those big shadows that we always, these shades that we always use a lot of, right? The 3 right there. They also say, which I've never seen this on the Kat Von D palettes before, maybe I just missed it or it's new, the patented Power Last long-wearing formula gives you buildable from dawn to dusk drama, while an infusion of antioxidants, including rose extract, vitamin A, C, and A, all work to keep your eyelids hydrated and protected. So there's 3 times 0.095 ounce of the big ones, and then 9 times 0.049 ounce of the smaller ones. And then they say it's inspired by the metamorphosis of a butterfly. So what do I think? First of all, I really like this palette a lot. Kat Von D does just amazing blues and purples, which is why I picked this palette over the, so this is what, the Chrysalis, the other one was Monarch, right, which was the more brown-based ones. I kind of liked the interesting mix of colors here. I can do both cool and warm shades just because of my coloring, so that didn't deter me. The powder shades are a little bit powdery. They are soft and very blendable, so you get a trade-off. They're a little powdery, especially some of the mattes, but they blend really beautifully. With the Spellbinding palette, I thought the concept of transformation of shades, mixing the two, was better in theory than in practice. It worked great on my arm, and sometimes if I was really careful it worked on my eyes, but I also made a mess, like these blobs of color that were really kind of just grayish thing all the time. So I learned that for me it worked better to use that palette shade by shade. And in this case, these 3 colors right here are much lighter, so you don't get that kind of blob of too much color because these shadows are so pigmented. I tried them with a primer and without a primer I get about 8 to 9 hours worth of wear. With a primer I get about 10, maybe 11. But what makes a huge difference for me with the primers oftentimes is that if a shadow's not very pigmented, I'll get a lot more color, or if it is pigmented, I'll get even more color, maybe too much color. And that was one thing I didn't notice with this palette, that the shadows applied pretty much the same with a primer and without a primer on me, but they did last a little bit longer. And the most powdery of the shades tended to wear after about 7 hours, but they tended to be the lighter ones anyway, so those kind of fade out earlier most of the time. So the shadows one by one, and I have outdoor swatches so you can see these outside. The shadows range from mattes to kind of these metallic sheen shades to a couple that have kind of a matte base with a little bit of shimmer, flecks of shimmer in it. So versus the one before that, which is just like a sheen, these are little flecks, but they're not big. There's no chunky glitter in this palette. The first one is a matte. I thought the first one was quite warm, and I'm gonna swatch these here real quick. So this one is, oh god, I think it's Lucid, right? I have to figure, no, Lifelike. It's a matte cream, and I think it's a very warm based cream. Great color. What's confusing is, so you can start by using these as a base and then transform them by taking these darker shades, and they're lighter because you use these as a base, which is good. Some of them are really dark. But what can get confusing is that some of these are matte. You can mix it with a glistening one, and then all of a sudden it's not matte anymore. This starts matte. It's not going to have an impact on a shimmery one, but it kind of depends. Do you want a lot of shimmer, a lot of matte? What are you looking for? And that's something I had to kind of think through as I was thinking of my looks. Lunar Lights Pearl Gray. This is a metallic light silver, and I did blues on my eyes, but I have to say I had a hard time deciding which of the looks to do, because I was thinking purples, they're really gorgeous, and then I was also thinking you'd use just a really kind of a natural nude eye that would just be like stunning. Then the third one is Lucid, a sparkle rose. So there, that right there. You can see these are all really light, which is why I think the outdoor swatches in the sunlight is going to show them off a little bit better. This right here is just a very, very light, barely there pink with little flecks of glitter in it. Then, I'm not going to try to fool around with putting the other shadows over this. Then come these super pigmented shades. So the next one I have is Matte Deep Purple, which is called Hybrid Moments. And this I thought was just a very dusty plum shade. Sorry to look down, but I have my notes. Look how pigmented that is. Amazing. But I think it's more of a plum to me than a purple. The next one, plum is a variation of purple, I get that. Mezzanine Sparkle Violet. Now if you put this over this one over the transformative shimmery one, it's going to look a lot like this. This right here is a purple but with a pink undertone. You can see very strongly as I look at the camera. Pearl Mauve, and again, if you put this over this one over the transformer, then you're going to get this mauve color. This is a very cool silver mauve. So those are the three. Wipe these off, and then the next, so again we'll look at these, those were these three right here. Then comes a shade which isn't going to show up that well. It really looks pretty on the eye, but it's not going to show up so well. Right there, this is Glasswing, a matte caramel, and I think this is kind of like a warm taupe, caramel kind of taupe. So this is probably the warmest shade. This and the cream colored. But you can also see this is one of the more dusty shades. It takes a little bit more build up to get really a good swatch. The next one is probably my favorite, but I'm so predictable. Melancholia Pearl Silver. This has a real kind of almost a teal undertone to it. Look how bright that silver is. The next one is Black Milk. God, these names. A matte gray, which again is a little chalky. You have to build it up a little bit, but I love this color. It's right there. Again, it has a little bit of a teal undertone. I always think of this kind of shade as kind of a ghost kind of color, and it's really pretty. See, with those three, you can make just a really stunning natural look. Put a little bit of the sparkly silver under your eyes, totally open up your eyes. I really was tempted to do that for this video, but then I thought the blues are the hardest, and I've been on a run of blues lately, so why not? So that was those three. You can see the middle one's a little powdery, not in application, but in the pan. Then next, I was surprised. Okay, I'm going to show you this one before I swatch it. Okay, that doesn't look super light. I was surprised at how dark it actually is. So this is called Graphic Nature Pearl Charcoal, and I feel like it has a navy or a cobalt blue, but look how dark that is. You can make an amazing smoky eye, especially with those last three shades I just showed. Then the next one is Entombed, these names, Pearl Blue. And this has like little pool blue sparkles in it. And it's kind of like a sapphire, cobalt blue, maybe heading toward navy. Then the last one, ooh, I got stuff everywhere. So see, the powder, it is powdery enough that some of it's falling back into my palette as I'm swatching it and putting it on my wrist. The last one is Tournay Matte Navy. And look how dark that is, like a blackened navy. So I use these colors with shadows this soft and this blendable. Like I said, when I did it the first time, I kind of made a mess. I kind of blended everything together too much. I find that really precise application and kind of softly patting the shadows on and then blending them either with a finger or with a bigger brush is how I get the best look. So what I did is I wasn't sure what to do. Like I said, I wanted to do the middle shades, but I didn't. I took this middle shade right here
and I just blended that up there. And you can see it's darker than I would have expected. If you look right under here, it's darker. It's also a lot more kind of, oh, I just put another color on there. Ignore this, I just put black there. It's darker than I expected, but it's still a nice shade. But I will blend this out. You can see it does blend out quite well. And then I took this light one right here, and I took a small brush and I just dotted that right in the inner corner right here. I just dotted it, and then down in here just a little bit. Then I took this blue, that bright vivid blue, and I dotted that out and then into the crease. And then I took this dark smoky one and put that under the eye. And I didn't have to do it wet, it's so dark. This is actually it dry. And then I took the blue here and blended that into the outer corner a little bit. And then I took some of the silver, this bright silver, put a little bit right in here, and then put that, I really just dotted it right in the middle here. And you can see how much color and pigmentation just from dotting. And I totally blended the blue out. If you look at it on my wrist, I had to really dot lightly and blend because I didn't want a really dark blue. And then I took this right here, used it wet, and just lined my eyes, and then just put that right in the corner a little bit. And then put a little bit more blue out here, the dark, this one right here, just to kind of even it out. And then that was it. It was very simple actually. It was a very simple look. But look at the pigmentation when I was just dotting it. So what do I think overall? I think this is a great palette. I think for me these are really usable colors. Some of them are darker than I expected, but I guess that's the point of having these lighter shades, so you can apply those first and then you get a much lighter application of some of these really dark pigmented. But at least you have that option. If you want the really dark pigmented shades, wow, are they dark and pigmented. If you want me to do a video on how I would use either the purples or the middle shades, let me know and I might do it. I do take suggestions on stuff like that and it's kind of fun. And so overall, I really, really love this palette. Personally, these are colors I will use, and I'm okay with the softer shadows that I've got to blend a little bit more and be careful in the application to get the effect that I want, because it gives me the ability to get what I want. So overall, to me, this is an A, but I can see that some people won't like it if they don't like too much shimmer. Some of the matte shades are a little chalky, and not very, just a little. And it's not the longest wearing shadow out there, but with a shadow primer it does last a lot longer, but it's a lovely palette. I think that's it. Please subscribe on YouTube, suggestions, comments. If you have the other palette, the Monarch, I would love to hear. And I have a novel that I'm doing chapter by chapter on YouTube called Masks, which talks about makeup and the masks we wear. Please check that out. And I guess I would like to add one more comment. This is like an artist palette, if that makes sense. I mean, the colors are so beautiful and can be used in such precise ways. I kind of felt a little bit like an artist when I was putting this on, so that's kind of fun too. Transformative, maybe. I don't know. Thanks.